Today, we'll be taking a look at Phantasy Star III on the Sega Genesis. This may be the third game in the main series, but it's actually more of a side story. Now, for some reason Sega did not have the normal Phantasy Star team work on this game, and it shows. This entry feels completely different than the two games that preceded it. The way the story is presented in this game is very cool and unique for its time. Your character, Riss, starts off in Landen Castle, just minutes away from his wedding. Right when he is about to be married, his bride Maya is kidnapped. Riss then goes on a journey to rescue her. Eventually, when he does find her, he has the option of either marrying her or another character. Who you choose will then affect the next generation and the way the second portion of the game plays out. Once you're done with this second section, that character then gets to choose a bride, and the game moves on to a new generation yet again. This is a really innovative concept for a 16-bit game, and it was cool to see how your choices would impact the next generation. Much like the first two games, this one has some wonderful character art. Some of the music in Phantasy Star III is pretty good. I really like the town theme, and it was cool how the overworld music would change slightly depending on how many party members you had. And that will do it for the positive portion of this review. You may have been thinking that I was going to come out here and say Phantasy Star III is a hidden gem for the Sega Genesis, but no, that's not going to happen, because once you step out of the first town, things immediately start to go downhill. What the? Did the developers actually think that grating loop of noise was a good idea? I just can't get over how awful this sounds. Thankfully, it goes away once you start selecting commands. You'll be relieved momentarily to be rid of that noise, until you get hit with the game's second flaw, the poison status. With most RPGs, I wouldn't even bother mentioning the status effect, but in this game, it's really frickin' annoying. It doesn't gradually damage you, but instead prevents you from healing. That may not sound so bad, until you realize that you can be poisoned in about half of the random encounters. To make matters worse, Mew's anti-tech has about a 35% chance of removing the status, and if she fails, those tech points are wasted. Look at this. Is this supposed to be fun? Selecting the same command over and over again and expecting a different result? Your other option is to use anti-items, which work 100% of the time, but take up precious inventory space and cost a lot of meseta. The asshole that created this poison status was, well, an asshole. I have to admit, I do like the look of the first town, but I didn't like it enough to want every single city in the game to look exactly like it. Each place you visit has the same 8 buildings and water fountains in slightly different configurations. How am I supposed to remember where anything is when nothing is unique? Alright, let me check my monitor and see where my party is. What the hell is this? This is one of the least helpful maps I have ever seen. Well, it's a little better than Pier Solar's dungeon maps, but that's not saying much. These circles confuse the hell out of me, but the thing that really sucks is that the terrain on the map isn't always accurate. Sometimes you'll be standing next to trees even though the map says mountains, and other times it will just be plain wrong. It's also strange that the monitor will show dots for dungeons and towns, but not in your current location. Thanks for letting me know where all the towns are on the other side of the world. That doesn't help me out here, but whatever. Another thing that drives me nuts is the walking speed. It's common for 8 and 16-bit RPGs to have slow walking speeds, but in this game, it feels like it takes forever to get anywhere. What also sucks is that there is no fast travel or transportation until very late in the game. So many times you'll get stuck slowly walking around the same dungeons over and over again on your way to the next task. Hey look, all your characters walk in a nice straight line. I wish families would do this at festivals. Then I wouldn't get stuck walking behind a family of 5 that I can't get. Oh, are you kidding me? Ugh! Phantasy Star III is an interesting game that fails in almost every category except for story. Not a title I would recommend, unless you're a hardcore Phantasy Star or Genesis collector. It seems like the developers tried their best to make this game as dull as possible. I'd say they succeeded. And that will do it for this one. I want to thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you next time.